is what's new.
Very anxious to hear Mike's thoughts on that.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
Makes us smile, and it's Friday, so we can always use an extra smile. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to What's New. It is great to be with you again, along with Betsy Kling. I'm Jay Crawford. Betsy, a very good Friday evening to you and to everyone at home watching.
We have a very cold night on tap. I'm sure you've probably already heard that. Jason will be along in just a little bit with the latest on the forecast. But first for us this evening, police have just released new video detailing the moment two people connected to the death of an off-duty Cleveland police officer were arrested. 25-year-old Shane Bartek was shot and killed on Rocky River Drive in Cleveland's West Side on New Year's Eve. Marissa Sines has the details on the latest video.
Anything you say can't be against your court of law.
The new video shows the moments leading up to the arrest of those two people involved in the shooting of Officer Bartek.
Cuffer. Calm down. 80 cuffer. Calm down, ma'am. Settle down.
18-year-old Tamara McLeod, accused of shooting Bartek, tracked down by police, arrested at a gas station. Body cam footage from multiple officers showing the moments they pull her out of the passenger side of a vehicle. The officers holding her to the hood of a unit while handcuffs lock in place.
Hey, somebody get us a car over here. We got her in custody.
Officers pulling others from the vehicle and a weapon.
Firearm recovered as well.
McLeod later pleaded not guilty to 10 charges, including aggravated murder.
Looks like they're going to bail.
Also revealed for the first time, an aerial view of the moments a second suspect, Anthony Butler Jr., was arrested outside of an apartment complex in Euclid.
Information I have is the driver's detained.
Butler, found in Bartek's car, arrested just hours after the officer was killed on Cleveland's West Side. At a pretrial hearing Wednesday, Butler, who's been charged with fleeing and receiving stolen property, told the media that he, quote, has nothing to do with the officer being killed. Ruled a line-of-duty death, Bartek was shot and killed on New Year's Eve. He was just 25 years old.
Yeah, a judge set McLeod's bond at $5 million. Butler also pleaded not guilty to charges, and court records indicate that he is expected back in court for a pretrial hearing on Tuesday. Betsy.
We'll continue to follow this story for sure. Thanks so much.
Well, now to COVID in Ohio, but today we're starting specifically in the city of Cleveland. Mayor Justin Bibb today issued a mask advisory. This is not a mandate. It's just a strong encouragement for residents to mask up. The mask advisory is effective for the next 10 days, expiring January 31st for all indoor spaces. Mayor Bibb says the advisory will be reassessed on February 1st.
Meantime, COVID cases and hospitalizations both declined across Ohio over the last 24 hours. 19,697 new cases reported, which is below the state's 21-day average, and 476 new hospitalizations.
And there's new information today from the CDC that shows seniors who haven't been vaccinated are nearly 50 times more likely to be hospitalized compared to those who have been vaccinated and boosted. Emma Henderson explains why.
COVID-19 has been detected in the United States for more than 2 years. Vaccines have been available for about a year for our senior and elderly population, and studies show just how much they help.
Because of them being at much higher risk, that means also that the vaccine will be the best or the most protective in that group.
New reports from the CDC show elderly patients who are vaccinated and boosted are 49 times less likely to be hospitalized with COVID than those who are unvaccinated. And infectious disease specialist and geriatrician Dr. Ellie Sadeh says the lasting impacts of COVID are also hitting this population hard, especially those with pre-existing conditions.
Someone who was independent, for example, can become dependent, and not just because of the lung disease, but because of everything else going on. They can become dependent on others, and frequently that is irreversible.
So where does our area sit as far as vaccination rates for people 65 and older? Ohio tracks people who have finished their vaccine process, but counts boosters differently. The statewide average for completed vaccination sits at about 80% for each age group above 65. And that statistic remains true when broken down into Cuyahoga, Lake, and Summit counties. And we know a majority of those have also had a booster shot. But Sadeh says it's important for anyone who spends time around this vulnerable population to protect themselves in the same way.
Getting the vaccine and getting boosted will not only protect the person who's vaccinated or boosted, but will also protect those around them.
Another thing doctors today highlighted is that COVID can manifest differently in people over 65. They might not get those milder symptoms like a fever first. They could jump to having issues with breathing, heart issues, and even blood clots before it's clear that they've even been infected. Jay?
All right, Emma Henderson live from our newsroom. Emma, thank you.
Some very exciting news for the state of Ohio. Today, Governor Mike DeWine announced Intel Corporation is coming to the Buckeye State. The company is expected to make computer chips at 2 factories to be built just northeast of Columbus, and it's expected to be an investment of about $20 billion. Now, all this is in part because of the global microchip shortage that's used in phones and even cars. The factories are set to bring 20,000 jobs to the state or more, with construction expected to begin late next year. DeWine's office says this is the single largest private sector company investment in state history.
Now on your feet at 5 this morning, we learned legendary singer and actor Meat Loaf has died at the age of 74. He was, of course, known for his unique rock opera music style. And of course, rock and roll fans know his music career took off right here in Cleveland. Here's Lindsey Buckingham with more on the birth of a rock star in the CLE.
His voice, undeniable. A larger-than-life rocker with a Broadway flair. Burst onto the music scene in 1977 with his debut album, Bat Out of Hell, right here in our hometown. And all the kids at school, they were wishing they were me that night. After years of rejection from other labels, Meat Loaf got his break from the late Steve Popovich, founder of Cleveland International Records. His son, Steve Jr., remembers the day his dad took a chance on the would-be megastar.
And you got to remember, this was a day and age where, it's like Pretty Boy Rock, and here's this long-haired 350-pound guy with 7-minute songs and an operatic voice.
But Popovich, who signed other big Cleveland names like Ian Hunter and Polka King Frankie Yankovic, saw something in Meat Loaf that would hit home with the hardworking folks in our town.
He wanted to bring that same blue-collar type label to the city of Cleveland, a city that embraced him at a very young age, and a city that he loved and was very passionate about. And I think Meat Loaf represented that.
A 6-decade career with over 100 million albums sold and appearing in more than 65 movies. Yet he never forgot about the city that put him on the map.
He helped us as much as we helped him.
Lindsey Buckingham, 3 News.
When I heard that this morning, it sort of stopped me in my tracks because I heard 74 and I thought for a second, wait, that's impossible.
He can't be 74.
That's impossible because I was 12 years old. And Betsy, when I tell you the impact that his album had on me, the album art was a huge thing then in the 70s.
Sure.
And I just remember countless hours sitting in my bedroom, listening to every song, following along with the lyrics that were printed in the album cover, and looking at that album art, and I was hooked forever.
A very young Jay Crawford,
yes.
Very young and impressionable Jay Crawford.
It really was. And you know what I loved about it was there's a riff in his in Paradise by the Dashboard Light. There's a base. It's all about baseball, first base, second base, and they have Phil Rizzuto.
I'm glad you think that's what it's about.
Well. If you listen to the song, that's exactly what it's about, but how it transfers to other things. But Phil Rizzuto, who's a legendary, now deceased broadcaster for the New York Yankees, they used his voice.
Sure, I remember
in the iconic part of that song. And so I'm like, wait a minute, baseball, rock and roll, girls.
Best song ever.
I was hooked. And what a loss.
And it's the show and the drama of the songs, right?
Yeah.
And that was so part and parcel with some of that genre in the 70s.
It was.
The 70s was really a breakout year. You had a ton of different music genres that just split and went off and all had success. And
yeah.
Meat Loaf was definitely an outstanding part of that.
He was something else. He had 3 octave ranges.
That's incredible.
And very few singers have that. That's partly why he was so successful. All right, we've got much more to come here on What's New. In fact, Betsy has another story.
I do, because you know what? The auto show is coming back. This is a part of the after pandemic reprisal of a whole bunch of different events. This year, guests can expect exciting attractions like both indoor and outdoor ride and drives. And again, this is all at the IX Center. You know, the popular Millionaires Row will be back. That's one of my favorite things to see, along with the classic car show and even vehicle giveaways. The auto show kicks off on February 25th and runs through March 6th.
I love the auto show.
So glad the IX Center is getting back online. Lots to come. All right, still ahead for us here, we're also going to be remembering Louie Anderson, the beloved comedian, actor, and TV host who has passed away. We'll look back at his life coming up in Pop Break.
Plus, Betsy, a retired teacher is looking to help animals in need. How his new book is actually doing just that.
But first, Jason has a peek at our forecast for the evening.
Hey there, guys. Well, we had a lot of sunshine move through northeast Ohio. So what does that do? Well, that certainly brightens our smiles, makes us feel good here. And maybe if you even want to go for an evening dinner. If you want to do that, you definitely need to bundle up. Temperatures in the 20s will steadily be falling into the teens and even single digits overnight. So that is the theme of our weather story. That full forecast is next.
Welcome back to What's New. A local retired teacher turned author is on a mission. Betsy, he wants to help animals in need wherever he can.
This is a really cute story, and as Will Ewick reports, he's doing so with help from another former Brecksville bee.
I always figured that I wanted to retire and do some things that I'd never gotten to do before. And at the retirement, I decided the one thing I want to do was write books.
Retired Brecksville Broadview Heights teacher Dave Lubinger taught history, sociology, and law for 32 years before hanging up the book bag and deciding to focus on the books themselves. So Dave studied up, reading, taking notes, and speaking to authors before he put pen to paper.
And I thought, I've got those books in my head. My daughter, my dogs, they're based on true stories. I can tell these stories.
After Dave got all the books written about his daughter and their former dogs, he needed to find an illustrator. And for that, he looked no further than one of his former students.
And I reached out to Adam, because I had saved some of his pieces of art, and they were brilliant from my history classes. A little gruesome, but brilliant.
I met up with him and I saw what he kind of had going, and the idea started kind of coming to my head, and I just kind of sketched out some things of what I thought it could be, and I could kind of see it coming together.
The two were off, former student and teacher, now colleagues, even if some habits are hard to overcome.
I still call him Mr. Lubinger. He says to not, and I can't not do that.
The first book in a series of self-published children's tales titled The Adventures of Jill, Jake, and Stemlin hit local bookstores, Barnes & Noble, and Amazon in May of last year, with hopes that the second book will be out this March. The adventures certainly had an impact on the Lubingers. Jill is now at The Ohio State University studying to be a vet, and Dave is donating the proceeds from the series to animal shelters and sanctuaries. They're now hoping the stories help to inspire a new generation of animal lovers and artists.
My dogs, Jake and Stemlin, were like my sons. I basically, if anybody asks, I got a daughter and 2 boys. They happen to have 4 legs.
I hope it inspires kids to become artists of their own. Or they see what they like, it might light the little spark in them.
In Brecksville, Will Ewick, 3 News.
All right, well, thanks so much. Love that story.
Yeah.
All right, 5:30 is the official sunset time tonight, but we just want to take a moment.
Take that in.
We got to see the sun today. Wasn't it so nice?
It really was nice. It was cold, but you could still kind of feel that there was some warmth there.
Yep.
It would have been a lot colder if there were no.
I love wearing my sunglasses in the winter because we don't get to do it very often. Jason, please say more of this is coming.
Well, we'll do it. We'll do it a couple more times here in that 7-day, but it is going to be small in perspective for so many people out here across Northeast Ohio. We got a series of clippers moving through, but what is sort of the opening act is this high pressure system here. So you have high pressure that dries out the atmosphere. It settles things down, doesn't allow for a whole lot of cloud cover. And this is why we have that sunshine out there. So those vitamin D rays hitting the skin, oh my goodness, enjoy that. So this is what I'm calling Burr. We're getting low tonight, my friends. Temperatures falling off into the single digits. Feels like temperatures will be sub-zero for tonight. And depending on where you are, you're really going to need to turn up the heat overnight tonight, maybe even put on the old electric blanket even, because it's going to be very cold out there. We still have our northerly winds coming in roughly about 5 to 10 miles per hour, trending a little bit lower though. But we're watching this area of high pressure as it skirts off towards the east there, and it's going to change our wind direction, certainly here at the surface, allowing for our next weather maker to come in. And we're tracking this cold front to move in late tomorrow night. As it traverses the region, or at least gears up to do that, we'll have a warm front move north of the region overnight tonight, and that'll lift our temperatures for us tomorrow. We're already seeing a little bit of lifting happen back towards the Central Plains states. 26 Kansas City, 43 over in Pierre. You can see that as well. So again, we're not getting up into the 40s, but what I can tell you is we're going to get down and dirty overnight tonight with some of the very cold temperatures. Additional snowfall will likely happen as this frontal boundary crisscrosses the area here and kind of comes over that sort of quote unquote warmer lake. It's sitting at about freezing right now, so we could precipitate a little bit of light lake effect snow showers by the time we get to Saturday night heading in towards Sunday. Overnight temperatures is really going to depend on where you are. So many factors between the snowpack, also the elevation, the terrain. Are you in a valley? Are you sitting a little bit higher? We could have ranges anywhere from -5 at the surface, maybe to about 5 degrees as well. You see some negatives down south, even warming conditions there. You can see I use warming very loosely near the lake shore. So your Union Home Mortgage 7-day. Cold, C-O-L-D, that is the theme overnight tonight. But take a look at this. That frontal boundary moves through on Sunday, and even some snow showers likely on Monday, and that's when we're talking about our next clipper system that's going to be moving through the region. We'll have much more on that coming up in the next half hour. Jay and Betsy.
Yep. Cold, C-O-L-D.
C-O-L-D. Every time we get excited about, oh, it's been such a mild winter, no snow, and then you always know that the averages tend to find their way to the surface, and here we are.
We've turned the corner now. Jason, by the way, thank you for that. Next on What's New, why Adele is not singing hello and instead saying see you later to her fans. Huh? She had an emotional announcement that she made on social media coming up.
Okay, I'm sufficiently teased on that. Plus, this dad and dog have quite the daily routine. It all benefits the pup's health. We're going to explain it. It's our worth the watch. It's coming up.
I do. C-I-S-O-N. Yep, Sarah, I do.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time now for our pop break. And man, it has been a rough start to 2022 in the entertainment industry for some.
Yeah, it really has. Kira Cotton joins us now with news of another passing of a beloved star. Hey, Key.
Hi, Jay and Betsy. You guys are absolutely right, and I can tell you that these stories don't get any easier to report. The entertainment industry is mourning the loss of Louie Anderson. The comedian and Emmy Award-winning actor passed away this morning in Las Vegas due to cancer complications. Anderson, who began his career doing stand-up in Minnesota in the early 80s, later went on to make a name for himself as the host of Family Feud. His success as the game show host opened the door for his acting career. Anderson's most notable roles included Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Coming to America, Baskets, and a host of TV series. Louie Anderson was 68 years old.
I'm really, really sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry, but...
And singer Adele is asking for fans to take it easy on her. In a tearful video posted to Instagram, the 33-year-old announced that she is pushing back the dates for her Las Vegas residency. Weekends with Adele were supposed to kick off today, but due to her team being absolutely destroyed by COVID and delivery delays, they've made the decision to reschedule. Adele reassured fans that the show would go on, but no official rescheduled dates have been announced at this time. And we'll end with a bit of brighter news. Country music star Luke Combs is expecting his first child with his wife, Nicole. The couple announced the news in a post on Instagram saying, "Here we go, y'all. Little dude Combs is coming this spring." The pictures show Luke standing behind Nicole as she cradles her growing baby bump and an up-close shot of the ultrasound. The news of their new addition comes just months after Combs was crowned Entertainer of the Year at the CMA Awards. And it's time now for your Eagles code word. Today's word is resort. And today is the final day for this contest, so good luck. You can head over to WKYC.com/contest right now and enter that word for your chance to win a pair of tickets to the concert. The Eagles are set to perform at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on March 17th. And we want to send a special congratulations to Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra. The couple has announced that they have welcomed their very first child via surrogate. Jay and Betsy.
All right, congratulations to them.
Yep, love that baby news. Thanks so much, Key.
Sure thing.
Well, right now it's time for our Worth the Watch, and you've probably heard of the yoga pose Downward Dog, very popular, but maybe this can be a new yoga pose with the help of one dog grandpa. Watch.
Oh, stretch, 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 stretch. Yeah.
It feels so good. The TikTok user posted that this is her dad and he stretches her dog. daily.
Aw.
They need stretching too. No word from the dog on whether or not that's enjoyable.
Look at that belly, just stretch.
Now, this is the part of the show where I need to say that Betsy's dad, Tim, sent me a great worth the watch idea. And Tim, if you're watching, that's going to be on Monday's program. Betsy's a little nervous about this fast friendship that her dad and I have developed.
It terrifies me that my father and Jay have a bromance. Honest to God, like he's like, yeah, I talked to your dad. I'm like, oh God,
love you, Tim.
What's coming?
Yeah, no, he's a great guy, and we're working on a little bit of a surprise for you. I told Betsy the best part about this new friendship is I now have access to the entire video archive of Betsy's young life.
There are VHS tapes.
You are in so much trouble.
Boxes in the basement. I'm terrified. Wow.
Yeah, it's coming soon, I promise.
Be nice to me, Daddy. I love you. All right, coming up next for us, you may have heard about the Christmas Story sequel that's happening, but our Mike Polk Jr. has thoughts about it. Like, do we even really need one? That is coming up.
Then 4 more playoff games are set for this weekend. Nick and I will recap our picks from last weekend's games, and we'll share our predictions for this week, as well as our Super Bowl 56 predictions.
I feel like I should borrow Mike's referee shirt and like stand behind you.
You know,
guys.
that is a great idea.
Fun. All right, parents with babies, listen up. There is a recall on popular pacifiers. Say it so. We'll have what you need to know when What's New returns.
Look out.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
We start tonight with 3 things you need to know now at 5:30. Police have just released new video detailing the moment 2 people were arrested in connection with the death of Cleveland police officer Shane Bartek on New Year's Eve. Body cam from several officers show the moments Tamara McLeod was pulled from a vehicle and handcuffed. Police also released new helicopter video and 911 calls. McLeod and another suspect, Anthony Butler Jr., have both pleaded not guilty to all charges.
Well, today, Cleveland Mayor Justin Bibb issued a mask advisory. It's important to stress this is not a mandate, just a strong encouragement for residents to mask up. The mask advisory is effective now through the end of the month. for all indoor spaces. Mayor Bibb says the advisory will be reassessed on February 1st.
And some exciting news for the state of Ohio. Governor DeWine announced today that Intel Corporation will be building 2 factories here in Ohio, investing $20 billion to make microchips. The factories, which will be just northeast of Columbus, are expected to bring more than 20,000 jobs to the Buckeye State. Construction on the buildings expected to begin next year. Very exciting news. That's a huge surge coming our way. So, I think a lot of eyeballs are going to be on the Columbus area. Kind of wish it would have been here.
Man, I thought the same thing, Bets.
Yeah.
Could you imagine the kind of economic impact something like that
Huge shot in the
could
arm.
have had here? First, this is like a double dose of good news, really, because A, it's going to bring a lot of jobs to the state, and it does benefit everybody in Ohio, because obviously all of those employees will pay state income tax. But also, this will hopefully, not in the short term, but in the long term, help ease this terrible crunch that we are in on relying on foreign countries to manufacture all of our microchips.
Right.
I mean, it's delayed production of vehicles. It's one of the reasons the automobile industry is turned upside down right now. Used cars are worth way more than they were even a year ago at this time because you can't get new ones.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how long it takes for them to actually begin to produce those chips and get them into the market.
Can't happen soon enough.
It's going to take a couple years for sure.
Yeah, you would think, yeah.
Well, welcome back, everybody, to the second half hour of What's New on this Friday afternoon. Alongside Jay Crawford, I'm Betsy Kling, and boy, it is getting chilly outside for sure, which, a lot of folks are thinking the holidays are past. But we kind of harken back to a pretty popular holiday movie, actually.
Yeah, we do, and that is our top talker. It's a holiday staple. We're talking, of course, about A Christmas Story. It holds a very special place in all of the hearts of Northeast Ohioans because it's a piece of us.
It is our movie.
It is our
That's just a
movie.
fact. Well, now there's a sequel coming, but Cleveland won't play a big part. How is this possible? So here's what we know. The movie is in pre-production phase. That's what Greater Cleveland Film Commission tells us. And it's being filmed in Hungary.
What?
What the what? How? Come on now. This is a Cleveland movie. You're going to Hungary. Okay. The owner of the original Christmas Story house in Cleveland has asked that the house play no role in this sequel. There will be no filming or even screening of the home this time. So why would that be? Well, he says, quote, "This is the third sequel to A Christmas Story. The other two are terrible, so I'm not holding out much hope for this latest straight to HBO spinoff."
Brian's also not holding back any punches. I mean, he's just going right for the jugular on that. And of course, our Mike Polk Jr. has some thoughts of his own on this Christmas Story sequel.
There's a reason there's no movie called Casablanca 2 or It's Still a Wonderful Life. Those are both timeless classics that Hollywood has thus far had the decency not to franchise, thank heavens. See, no one ever gets mad when they make sequels to dumb movies because we're not emotionally invested in the original. But with good movies like A Christmas Story, it's different. It's personal. We all have a relationship with this movie, first and foremost because it's a highly quotable, perfectly crafted modern-day holiday classic, but also because it's been force-fed to us on cable television on a constant loop for the past 30 years or so. I'm pretty sure TNT's Christmas Story marathon is still running from last month. There has yet to be a formal scientific study, but it's safe to say that Cleveland leads the nation in sexy leg lamps displayed in front windows, and the Christmas Story Museum gets more than 80,000 visits per year. So yes, we're really into this movie. That's why when word dropped yesterday that there was an upcoming sequel in the works, strong feelings were inevitable. When we asked our viewers on Twitter how they felt about it, the response was pretty consistent. Most people were not stoked. And that's understandable. After all, they already tried this. A Christmas Story sequel actually already exists, and wow does it look bad. It's a 2012 straight-to-DVD cheapie starring Daniel Stern with a dismal 3.6 rating on IMDb. And I have to believe Daniel Stern must be the one who keeps voting to keep that high because there's no way it should be above a 2.5. All of that said, I'm not trying to be a Scrooge about this, and I'm hoping for the best because this sequel does have some hopeful elements to it. For example, it's being produced by HBO, and they don't really make much bad stuff. And they've lined up Peter Billingsley, the actor who played Ralphie in the original, to return for the sequel, which will follow an adult version of the character in the 1970s who returns to the house on Cleveland Street to try and give his kids a magical Christmas like the one he had growing up. That doesn't sound bad. So does this mean that we'll get to see downtown Cleveland decked out in all of its 1970s holiday glory on film? Probably not, because the production will actually be shooting in Hungary for some reason, and by some reason I mean cheap labor and tax purposes. No word yet on if any of the production will actually take place here in town. However, in the event that they do decide to shoot portions of the film here, I'd like to take this opportunity opportunity to throw my hat in the ring for the role of the grown-up version of Ralphie's bully nemesis Scud Farkas, to whom I've always borne a regrettable resemblance. Hear that, HBO? I'm a local ginger who's very affordable, and I already have this hat. This is Mike Polk, expecting the worst but hoping for the best for 3 News. Cry for me, Ralphie. Wah! I'm grown up now. I'm your boss at the bank or something. Wah! You can see how the character would work.
Somebody get Mike Polk on a plane to Hungry stat.
You know, he does bear a striking resemblance to the nemesis.
He's our resident ginger.
I'm like Mike. I'm hoping for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. The fact that they're taking it to Hungary might hit the nail on the head. It's because it's a lot cheaper to do it over there.
Right, but they got Peter Billingsley to buy in on it.
But now I'm wondering, like, what's his price tag these days, you know?
This is true. He's not exactly an A-lister.
No, he's not. And I don't see how the project could ever even get off the ground without him.
Yeah.
And I do like the premise. Like, it seems like that could be good. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
But to not use the original house.
I know, I'm really disappointed about that. But Brian, the current owner, said not a chance.
Miffed.
I don't want to be associated with further garbage.
Miffed.
So there you go.
Stay with the original, friends. You can't go wrong.
No, it's one of the all-time great holiday movies.
Coming up next for us here on What's New. All aboard! The Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad is getting back on track. We'll tell you when, ahead and clicking in Cleveland.
And Nick and I are back at it with our playoff picks and Super Bowl picks. But first, I'm excited about this. We have a new mini segment. It's called Whether or Not.
Wow, it's got an open.
It's like Matt's Weather in a Jiffy, but Jason came up with this one. And so far, 2 thumbs up from Betsy and I. So
all right.
Tell us what it's all about.
All right, so we're starting this new Friday Fun Day segment, guys. This is where we're going to find some place in the world that has some sort of connection to a weather element, either a person, either a system, or something that just basically has happened within the week. We're going to show a picture, and we're going to give clues to Jay and Betsy to figure out where this place is. Isn't it beautiful?
Gravy.
Is that our picture this week? Is that it?
That is the
Is this a current picture?
It's not a current picture.
Okay.
This is some place that is related to whether or not. Here's the clues. This city where this picture is, it sits on 14 islands. 14 islands.
Okay.
It has had the world's first national city park, which is what you see here.
Okay.
And the city was hit by a catastrophic plague that wiped out 1/3 of its population in the 1700s.
Okay.
Whoa.
Wow,
like
now
a
it
dum-dum-dum.
suddenly took a Jeopardy turn.
But it's a beautiful place.
It's gorgeous.
All right, we'll find the answer out on the flip.
It's going to be after.
Okay, 14 islands, northern hemisphere. He gave us one more clue while we were in the break.
Home of the first World Park.
First World Park.
Yeah.
You have to see their faces during
I'm
the
zeroing
commercial
in on
break.
this baby.
Yeah, okay. What's your guess?
Do we guess now or after weather?
No. After the forecast.
After the forecast, yeah.
It's about 2.5 more
I'm going
minutes.
to change my answer 15 more times.
That's okay. 2.5 minutes of finagling with your answers here.
Okay.
All right. As I said before, guys, we're getting low tonight. Temperatures at the surface will no doubt be single digits, sub-zero wind chills. If it's 5, if it's -5, if it's 3 degrees, it's all going to be, as I said before, as Betsy championed, cold cold. We're still pulling in these north winds coming off the lake right now. We had a few flurries earlier this morning, but high pressure has brightened things up for us here. We've had a lot of sunshine this afternoon. It's been absolutely beautiful there. The high pressure is a subsiding air mass that really dries out the atmosphere, prevents cloud cover from forming here, and it really cools things down, certainly at night. And this is what we're going to have here across northeast Ohio. We're already watching our next weather maker to move right on in as central back towards the northern Dakotas right now, beginning to move and stretch across Minnesota, bringing some snow showers there. But as we crisscross with this area of high pressure, it'll change our winds here at the surface and allow for a more southerly sort of warming wind, and this will lift our temperatures for tomorrow. So we begin relatively very, very cold tomorrow morning, and we'll see sort of a skyrocket of temperatures into the 20s for high temperatures, and then settling back down once we get that frontal boundary to move through. This model really wants to bring in some scattered snow showers late Saturday night heading to early Sunday. Some visibility, of course, can be cut down, but it's going to be quickly moving here, and it's going to be on out of here for the most part by Monday of next week. How much snowfall are we expecting? Anywhere from a dusting, a trace in some areas, and maybe even up to maybe an inch or two in other areas. Again, nothing remotely similar to what we had earlier this week. But as I said before, depending on where you are, where you're located at, is it the elevation, is the snow packed, is there calming winds, is there the breezy winds, you can have ranges tonight anywhere from -5 here at the surface, perhaps even up to about 0 here in Cleveland, maybe even 5 elsewhere. So it's going to be very cold. This is the first of a series of clippers moving through, so diving out of Canada right now. System 1 moves through this weekend. System 2 comes in by Sunday heading into early Monday, and then even more bitterly cold Arctic air moves in for middle of next week. You can see that play out here in your Union Home Mortgage 7-day. 0, you can see that's what we're going to call it for tonight. 27 for tomorrow. Surface temperatures by Sunday as snow moving in the mid to low 20s. But look at this, by Monday heading into Tuesday, another frontal boundary moves through, and we have falling temperature throughout the day on Tuesday, back into the single digits for overnight lows Wednesday morning, Thursday morning. Ooh.
Okay, now we get to guess.
You want to go first,
Here's the picture. I'm going to guess Tokyo.
I'm going Vancouver.
Ooh.
Tokyo and Vancouver. Okay, I'll repeat again. Plague in 1700s.
Yeah.
14 islands.
Yeah.
The first national city park in the world.
Yeah.
Trying to see. Oh, God. I was just getting up to look at the trees. Dadgummit, I can't
She was giving
see.
up. Okay, I'll give one more clue.
So neither of us got it right then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starts with the letter S.
Sydney? No, it's Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah.
S. Wow. First one that comes to mind is Syracuse, and I know it's not Syracuse.
No.
Are you guys ready? You ready?
Yeah, I need to know.
Stockholm, Sweden.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I didn't even think about Sweden with the fjords.
It is.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah. And is the home of Carl Rosby. He gave us the Rosby waves in the meteorology.
Oh, okay. So that's your
connection.
first whether or not, and then in our case it would be not.
Yeah.
We missed badly. Okay, thank you, Jason. Next Friday we're going to do better. Right now, it's time to see what's clicking in Cleveland, and for that we bring in our digital anchor, Stephanie Haney. Stephanie, I understand that you have important information for parents of babies and infants to start with today. What do you have?
That is right, Jay. Yes, if parents are using 2 certain types of Frigg pacifiers, they need to stop doing that right now. It's the Daisy and the Classic design. You see the Classic design coming up right here. Now, the Daisy design has scalloped edges, and 333,000 of them are being recalled because the silicone nipples can detach, and that is a choking hazard. Now, these pacifiers are sold in sizes 0 to 6 months and 6 to 18 months, and they were sold from April to December. Now, thankfully, no injuries have been reported yet, so let's hope that it stays that way. And the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad is back with its 2022 season starting this weekend. Here is what we can expect this year. Every Friday night, there's the dinner and event train, and scenic park rides will happen twice a week on Saturdays and Sundays. The Family Fun Loop is back with 90-minute rides that include a craft or some kind of interactive activity. And they have bingo on the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic Railroad. I did not know that. Sign me up for that. I do love me some bingo. Me and Ma Haney. Now, if you saw everyone online talking about the green M&M today, this is why. The M&M's candy characters are getting slightly updated looks to promote inclusivity. Now, the slogan is for all fun kind, and they've launched new bios for the cartoons on the website. Now, people are really zoning in on two things here. The orange M&M is seeming to have quite a bit of anxiety, and the green M&M is switching its look from go-go boots to sneakers. There are other subtle differences too, like the brown M&M that's got a chunky heel instead of a stiletto. Now, Jay and Betsy, I know you have an adorable chunky heel on. I am just personally not sold on that look. But lots of people on the WKYC Facebook page say they don't really see much difference, and we can't really expect that if the only accessory they have to work with is shoes, right?
Yeah,
kind of tweaks all the time.
I would have never noticed. I wouldn't have, but.
Yeah, white go-go boots versus white sneakers. I'm like, go green. That's awesome.
Right,
I'm down with that idea all the way.
Yeah, I guess it's a whole new way to look at M&Ms.
Yep.
There you have it.
They taste delicious.
Chef, thank you, and have a great weekend. Next on What's New, last week Nick Camino and I picked all 6 playoff games. We're going to give you the scorecard on how we did. Plus, we'll pick all 4 of this weekend's games. That's straight ahead.
And later, granting a wish, how one local company and another organization worked together to put a big smile on this Ohio boy's face. That's ahead, and show us something good. All right, the NFL is now helping the Red Cross deal with its worst blood shortage in more than a decade. So anyone who donates blood through January 31st will be entered to win 2 tickets to the Super Bowl in LA. And that prize will include airfare, tickets, hotel stay, or I should say airfare, tickets, hotel stay, and an expenses card for you. You can find locations to donate your blood at redcross.org. Quick and easy and helps a whole lot of people.
It certainly does, and we need it now more than ever. And I don't know what the weather's going to be in LA, but I'm going to go out on a limb here and say significantly warmer than it will be here.
Probably.
On Super Bowl Sunday, which, by the way, Super Bowl 56 now a little more than 3 weeks away. Excitement is really starting to build in Southern California. You're looking at preparations in and around SoFi Stadium, which, of course, is in beautiful Los Angeles, actually in Inglewood, just outside Los Angeles. Nick Camino's here now. He's going to pick the 4 playoff games this week. And, Nick, I look back at our picks last week. We both did pretty well. We both were 5-1. You missed with the Bengals beating the Raiders, and I missed because the Niners beat the Cowboys.
And
but
you
that
thought
was
you
it.
went the other way on that one, right?
I thought I had picked. I was rooting for the wrong team because I messed up my picks in my head. Okay, anyhow, start with the 2 AFC games and then go to the 2 NFC games. Who do you have this week?
Let the record reflect. We were scalding hot last week. We both went 5-1, and we had different losers, so that was good. All right, so for the first games this week, you said we'll start with the AFC. We'll start with the Bengals and the Titans. I'm going to go with the home team Titans in that first matchup. They are a slight favorite. They're getting Derrick Henry back. He broke his foot in week 8. We never thought he was going to be back for this game. He's back. I think they're getting more healthy, and I think they were a team that benefited from having the week off. So I'm going to go with the Titans over the Bengals. And then you want me to stay in the AFC, you said?
Yeah, just go pick them how you have them.
All right, AFC, I got the Bills over the Chiefs for the second time this year. They blew them out the first time. I think this team is red hot. We saw it against the New England Patriots. Those are my AFC picks. You want me to keep going here?
Yep, go to the NFC.
NFC picks. Betsy Kling tells me it will be 0 degrees, 0 in Green Bay on Saturday night. And I think the Niners have a 0% chance to win that game. So I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers in the pack. And then how do you go against Tom Brady? He's like a fine wine. He gets better with age. I will take the Buccaneers against the Rams down in Tampa.
All right. Well, our 2 AFC picks are completely different. Our NFC picks we agree on. Here we go. Here are my picks. Chiefs and the Bills. Now, this is going to be a terrific football game. This is a rematch of the AFC Championship game last year. It's also a rematch of Week 5 in this regular season when the Bills crushed Kansas City. They beat them 38-20, and that game was in Kansas City. But the Chiefs have figured it out since then. They're 11-2, and they roll in this one. Bengals and Titans, Nick, I'm going AFC North here. I think the Bengals are an unstoppable train on offense. Yes, I know the Titans are expected to have Derrick Henry back in that offense, but I got to tell you, Joe Burrow and company are scoring like a pinball machine, and I think the Bengals are going to advance to the AFC Championship game.
Wow.
And we beat them twice this year. That's maddening. As for my NFC picks, I think the Packers at home against the Niners, just too much to ask for in that one. They beat them in the regular season, Green Bay over San Francisco, and they're going to beat them again. And the Rams and the Bucks, like you said, how do you go against Tom Brady? I will say LA did beat Tampa Bay back earlier in the regular season, but that game was in Los Angeles. And now let's refresh our Super Bowl picks.
Yes.
I'm going Green Bay and Kansas City. That would be a redo of Super Bowl I, which was also played in Los Angeles.
That's right.
Green Bay won that one, and they're going to win this year's Super Bowl II.
All right, so you've got Packers, Chiefs. I've got Packers in there as well. It's just felt like Aaron Rodgers' year has been unbelievable. But I have the Bills. So that means, Jay, the matchup we have this weekend, Bills versus Chiefs, that could be a trip to go to the Super Bowl with that game.
It could be. Either way, we're 3+ weeks away, and you'll watch Super Bowl 56 right here on 3 News.
That was fun. We didn't argue as much.
No, we didn't argue. I keep score, and we'll have the scorecard next week. See you then, Nick. Have a good weekend.
Meanwhile, I now have my entire Super Bowl menu planned in that time. As we count down to the 2022 All-Star Game, we want to know who is the All-Star in your life. It could be a teacher, a coach, a neighbor, first responder. But either way, we want to know who is making a difference in the community where you are. 3 chosen All-Stars will receive 4 tickets to a regular season Cavs game of their choosing. You can get your nominations in by the end of January by going to WKYC.com/contests. I love when we get to celebrate those star people in our lives.
Absolutely. Next on What's New, Dare to Dream. How one 19-year-old from Ohio got his wish granted today and who helped to make it happen.
Then on What Matters Most at 6, we're hearing from a former Clevelander who was part of the first response effort during the terror at the Texas synagogue standoff last week. Sarah Shookman is going to bring us that story.
Hey there, how are you? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you Matt in the control room? Oh, okay, thanks, Matt. Okay, how are you?
Today's show is Something Good comes from Cleveland, where today 19-year-old Carson got his wish granted. He got a dirt bike. Carson is battling leukemia and says he's always loved dirt biking. As a matter of fact, his dad is in the process of building him his own dirt bike course. Make-A-Wish and Prince and Izent, a manufacturing company here in Cleveland, teamed up to gift him that sweet new ride.
Sweet indeed.
Be careful.
Yes. Well, that's it. We're out of time. We hope you have a great weekend. We're back Monday at 5, and we'll see you then.
We are. Have a great weekend, everybody. What Matters Most with Russ and Laura starts right now.
Now at 6, intense arrest.
Calm down.
New images out tonight of the capture of the prime suspect in the shooting death of a Cleveland police officer. Also, emotional memories.
Your heart sinks, and there's this awful, scary feeling of woe that you can't avoid.
A local rabbi who helped end the hostage situation at a Texas synagogue last week walks us through the ordeal and what he learned from it all. Remembering Meat Loaf.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
We look back at the life and career of the Grammy Award-winning singer and the Cleveland connection to his biggest album. And another Christmas story?
As far as we know, no filming will take place in Cleveland.
Why the next sequel to the famous Cleveland-based holiday classic may not be filmed in Northeast Ohio.
From the WKYC studios, this is What Matters Most.
Good evening and thanks for being with us. I'm Russ Mitchell.
And I'm Laura Queso. Tonight, as the city of Cleveland continues to mourn the loss of fallen officer Shane Bartek, Police have just released new video detailing the moments arrests were made in connection to his death.
Marissa Science has the latest on this latest video.
Anything you say can be against your court of law.
The new video shows the moments leading up to the arrest of those two people involved in the shooting of Officer Bartek.
Cuffer. Calm down. Just cuffer. Calm down, ma'am. Settle down.
18-year-old Tamara McLeod, accused of shooting Bartek, tracked down by police, arrested at a gas station. Body cam footage from multiple officers showing the moments they pull her out of the passenger side of a vehicle. The officers holding her to the hood of a unit while handcuffs lock in place.
Hey, somebody get us a car over here. We got her in custody.
Officers pulling others from the vehicle and a weapon.
Firearm recovered as well.
McLeod later pleaded not guilty to 10 charges, including aggravated murder.
Looks like they're going to bail.
Also revealed for the first time, an aerial view of the moments a second suspect, Anthony Butler Jr., was arrested outside of an apartment complex in Euclid.
Information I have is the driver's detained.
Butler, found in Bartek's car, arrested just hours after the officer was killed on Cleveland's west side. At a pretrial hearing Wednesday, Butler, who's been charged with fleeing and receiving stolen property, told the media that he, quote, has nothing to do with the officer being killed.
I had nothing to do with the officer being killed. Please stop posting on the news.
Ruled a line-of-duty death, Bartek was shot and killed on New Year's Eve. He was just 25 years old.
Yeah, a judge set McLeod's bond at $5 million. Butler also pleaded not guilty to charges, and court records indicate that he's expected back in court for a pre-trial hearing on Tuesday. Russ.
Marissa Science in the newsroom. Thank you.
A week after the Texas incident, the FBI says was a targeted attack on the Jewish community. We're hearing from a former Clevelander who was part of the response effort. Rabbi Andrew Paley, who grew up in University Heights and worked at the Eastside Temple Emmanuel before moving to Dallas, served as a police chaplain during the 11-hour-long hostage situation. Sarah Shookman spoke with him today in an emotional interview.
Yeah, you can't take the Cleveland out of me.
As evidenced by the jerseys hanging behind him, Rabbi Andrew Paley is a Clevelander. Now in Dallas, he's senior rabbi of Temple Shalom and a chaplain with the Dallas Police Department. Saturday, with the world watching, he was called to action.
Rabbi Charlie is a colleague of mine, sort of watching this horrible sort of scene in real time.
When he arrived outside the congregation Beth Israel, it felt surreal, watching the selfless work of hundreds of law enforcement officers, while the rabbi, Charlie Citron Walker, and 4 others were held hostage for nearly 11 hours.
To be a part of it in real time was hard to process.
Rabbi Paley was one of the first to comfort families of the hostages and the hostages themselves as they were released.
I think so many of us in that situation would never know what to say. How did you know what to say to these folks who had been through such an ordeal?
What I tried to tell those that I had a chance to meet with, including Rabbi Charlie's wife and daughter, was that we're here. You're not alone. We love you and we care about you. And there are people literally all over the world who are sending that energy of spirit, of care and support.
Paley was not surprised to learn how his friend Rabbi Charlie stepped up.
All the training in the world, you can never know how you'll react in that moment. And I know that he would be demure in thinking that he's a hero or something like that, but he is.
Incredibly, all of the hostages made it out safely Saturday, while the FBI shot and killed the suspect, Malik Faisal Akram.
I did manage to sort of push my way in so I could give Rabbi Charlie a hug at the very end to, sort of let him know that on behalf of all those who wanted to give him a hug, we were there.
The situation is resonating with the Cleveland Jewish community and beyond as they worship this weekend, sharing fear over the very real dangers of anti-Semitism.
Look, this is a scary time. We need to name it and own it and say it out loud. And I share the worry and the wonder of, what this means.
Rabbi Paley says the most powerful act is so many people of faith showing up.
I think that the fact that you and I are having this conversation right now really matters. What does it say about the kind of people and character of the Cleveland Jewish community who is feeling a little helpless? I know for sure, as we are even a little closer, but is willing to demonstrate, even in a limited way, that they care. And that really, really matters.
Rabbi Paley says his congregation is talking about their own security and letting Cooleyville figure out their next steps and plans to support them in any need. Meanwhile, the Jewish Federation of Cleveland shared a statement with us today that said, in part, the Jewish Federation of Cleveland, through its security provider, JFC Security, LLC, is on the forefront of community security in the country. In fact, 6 weeks ago, we performed a training exercise with law enforcement that was based on a hostage situation in a school setting. Our local community invests significant resources in keeping Jewish Cleveland safe and open, and we truly appreciate the support in this effort we receive from local and federal law enforcement. Laura?
Wow. All right, Sarah, thank you so much.
Now to the pandemic, and doctors say unvaccinated seniors nearly 50 times more likely to end up in the hospital due to COVID than those who are vaccinated and boosted.
Our Emma Henderson spoke to a doctor about why. Good evening, Emma.
Hi, Laura. Now, across the state, we're seeing over 80% vaccination rates for people 65 and older, and many have gotten boosted as well, but that leaves as many as 1 in 5 open to this higher rate of hospitalization and serious side effects. Dr. Sadeh with University Hospitals says the #1 thing people can do to protect themselves and others of all ages is still vaccination, even as University Hospitals gets new antibody and pill treatments for COVID. Because this population has a higher risk of pre-existing conditions, that means they also have a higher rate of long-term consequences that can impact their breathing, energy levels, and overall quality of life. So some may need round-the-clock care when they were independent before COVID.
Because of them being at much higher risk, that means also that the vaccine will be the best or the most protective in that group.
Sadeh says the same goes for people who spend a lot of time with someone over the age of 65. Getting vaccinated is your best way to protect the seniors in your life. Now, another thing he highlighted is that COVID can manifest differently in people over 65. They may not get those milder symptoms like a fever first. They could jump to having issues breathing, heart issues, and even blood clots before it's clear they've been infected.
All right, Emma Henderson, thank you.
Governor DeWine and other state officials making a big announcement today. Intel will invest $20 billion in a new computer chip facility in central Ohio amid a global shortage of microprocessors used in everything from phones, cars, to video games. 2 chip factories on the 1,000-acre site just east of Columbus are expected to create 10,000 jobs, with construction starting next year. And the West Side Market is back open for business just in time for the weekend, too. The popular marketplace was closed for a few days this week for electrical repairs, but it reopened this morning.
2 deaths from the entertainment world to tell you about tonight. First, comic Louie Anderson has died after a battle with cancer.
See, I'm washing lettuce. Soon I'll be on fries, then the grill. A year or 2, I make assistant manager. And that's where the big bucks start rolling in.
Of course, that's Anderson from one of his most famous roles in Coming to America. During his 4-decade career, he was well known on the stand-up circuit and as host of TV's Family Feud. Louie Anderson was 68 years old. This morning, we learned that legendary singer and actor Meat Loaf has died at the age of 74. His iconic breakthrough album in the late 70s sold more than 40 million copies and had a Cleveland connection. Lindsey Buckingham tells us about it.
His voice, undeniable. A larger-than-life rocker with a Broadway flair. Burst onto the music scene in 1977 with his debut album, Bat Out of Hell, right here in our hometown. And all the kids at school, they were wasting their meat at night. After years of rejection from other labels, Meat Loaf got his break from the late Steve Popovich, founder of Cleveland International Records. His son, Steve Jr., remembers the day his dad took a chance on the would-be megastar.
And you got to remember, this was a day and age where, it's like Pretty Boy Rock.
and here's this long-haired 350-pound guy with 7-minute songs and an operatic voice.
But Popovich, who signed other big Cleveland names like Ian Hunter and Polka King Frankie Yankovic, saw something in Meat Loaf that would hit home with the hardworking folks in our town.
He wanted to bring that same blue-collar type label to the city of Cleveland, a city that embraced him at a very young age, and a city that he loved and was very passionate about. And I think Meat Loaf represented that.
After a slow start, Bat Out of Hell picked up steam, and the album Meat Loaf made with songwriter Jim Steinman and producer Todd Rundgren would become one of the best-selling albums of all time. A 6-decade career with over 100 million albums sold and appearing in more than 65 movies. Yet he never forgot about our town or the people like Cleveland radio icon John Gorman that helped put him on the map.
He did a lot of things with WMS, and the fact that the label was in Cleveland, this was pretty much his second home for those years.
Lindsay Buckingham, 3 News.
And Steve Popovich Jr. relaunched his father's record label back in 2018. He tells us Meat Loaf reached out to him to release his final album, but health problems prevented it from ever being completed. Coming up tonight, another crack at a Christmas story, why the next sequel to this local classic will not be made in Cleveland.
And the Cavs prepare for another red-hot weekend as the countdown to the All-Star break continues. Nick has that in sports, and Betsy has a look at the forecast.
Just in case you were not aware, I'm going to let everyone know it's cold outside. And it's going to be getting colder tonight, but that has more implications than just how it feels and an extra cup of coffee in the morning. I'll tell you the latest on that, when we're going to be warming up, and about a little snow that's headed our way too, straight ahead.
Right now, we're following the deadly threats made against election officials in Georgia, and now a key arrest, what a suspect is accused of doing. Also, how microchip shortages are changing the way many of us buy cars. When we see you back here for Nightly News.
What Matters Most is sponsored by the Calvetta Brothers Floor Show. It's time to fall in love again with your home.
Thanks.